Good morning, everybody. Look who it is, your accident and injury guy, attorney Jobeth Bowers. This week, we talk about some pretty speedy changes in the law that come into play next week. All right, everybody. We're going to talk about some new laws that are going to go into effect in the state of Maryland next Wednesday. That is October 1st. If you don't know, our legislature meets every year between January and April for 90 days. They argue. The only thing they don't do down there is raise money during the period in which they're in that session. But they will argue, they will pontificate, they will try to bolster their position, doing all the political things, but they also pass new laws. And in Maryland, the new laws generally go into effect either on July 1st or October 1st. And there's some important ones. There's a lot of stuff. I've actually put a link to all of them, but the one that I think needs to be noted is one that can highly contribute to auto accidents here. There have been expansions that are listed in there of the expungement rules, which we're not going to talk about today. There's a bunch of different stuff about witnesses and child victims. These are all important things to take a look at. But today, what I want to talk about is a new penalty for an existing traffic law. Now, the reason I'm covering this on this auto accident and injury podcast is that speeding is one of the many ways to contribute to an accident. And the faster you're going, the higher the likelihood of greater injuries. So this is really me telling you, don't speed so that you don't cause severe accidents. But what it's going to sound like I'm saying is don't speed, because according to this new law, same law, but expansion of the penalty, if you are convicted of exceeding the speed limit by 30 miles an hour or more, you could face up to 60 days in jail. That's right. This is something that kind of seems ridiculous. Like, why would I go to jail for speeding? Well, you could cause accidents, you could run off the road, you could hurt people, you could hurt property and otherwise. And the penalties, the fine associated with this change in penalty has also increased to $1,000. And there is a little bit of inconsistency here, because I'm also seeing a line in the statute where it says that there's I guess it's a subsection B. I'm looking at this here, with a fine not to exceed $750. And either way, both of those dollar amounts for the fine exceed what was the $500 max on any traffic citation here in the state of Maryland. So we're experiencing a lot of changes. I'm going to call this, even though I had nothing to do with the process in which this was legislated and any of the rationale behind it. I'm assuming that this is geared toward increasing safety, geared toward lowering the instances of more serious accidents that are often caused by speed. Either way, this is good information to know. Now, here's the deal. You shouldn't have been going 30 miles over the speed limit anywhere anyway. But even more so now, because the penalties are potentially stiffer. How is this going to play out? Are people actually going to do jail time from this? Tough to know. A lot of times this is all still at the discretion of the judge. It is still at the discretion of what a prosecutor is going to be seeking as far as a penalty in a situation like this, because now, before this law, if you had a simple speeding ticket, it would be you and the officer who wrote you the citation. And the officer who wrote you the citation would be the witness for the state, and there would be no prosecutor. So this is going to create more work from the prosecutor's office with the potential penalty of incarceration. Again, up to 60 days. My guess, and I have not handled traffic law on the criminal traffic side or any criminal law in coming up on 10 years since I've handled any of these as the primary attorney. I have filled in for colleagues from time to time, but not part of my regular practice in quite some time. I would imagine that this is the type of thing that maybe if you have a reasonable, clean driving record, you don't do jail time the first time that you're convicted of such an offense. But I mean, 30 miles an hour is pretty steep to be exceeding the speed limit by that much. So my guess is you get one bite to not do jail time. Again, this is just a guess, because if you get convicted of this a second time, I wouldn't be surprised if you're doing a little stint of time in CCDC. So be safe out there. I say this every week, even more so starting next Wednesday. And again, check the link that's in the description. It'll take you to the State Bar Association website with a list of all of the changes in the law. There's all sorts of stuff in there. If you're into recreational cannabis, you can grow for yourself small plants in your house. That's a law that's in there too. So there's all sorts of stuff all across the board, all of this stuff going into effect next week, Wednesday, October 1st, 2025. As usual, if you have questions that you want me to discuss here on the podcast, drop me that info@bowerslawmd.com. And when you do so, make sure you mention that you want me to talk about it on the podcast. Otherwise, you're just going to get a response, and I'm not even going to think, hey, talk about this on the podcast. Your inquiry will be completely and 100% confidential. If I talk about the topic on the podcast, it'll be incredibly general. Also, if you need to catch up on the podcast, if there's something specific you're looking for, go to bowerslawmd.com. Click up there where it says podcast. You can find all of the previous episodes. Each one gets updated there within a day or two of actually being shot live. Again, bring me questions. If it's not something that's related to accidents or injuries or something that I can twist into that box like this one, I'm going to bring an expert on that will talk about it. I want to make sure your questions are answered. That's what we're here for. It's kind of a public service that we're doing. Until next time, be well, be safe out there. Attorney Bowers signing off.